Here we go.
It happened when I was in high school.
It
I
happened
went
when
to
I was
see
in
an
high
abandoned
school.
house with my friend. I was wandering around the house with him, but
Was that
there
on
wasn't
what
much there.
1313 Mockingbird Lane?
Just then, I found light leaking from the stairway down to the basement. When we went down the stairs,
Why would
to the
you go
basement,
down
there was a man.
Why would you go down the basement with the light, a red light, like radiating like that? There's no fucking way I would do that. As a grown man, I wouldn't do that. Much less a kid.
No, it wasn't a man. It was a devil.
It was
The
Satan.
moment I saw him, I couldn't lift a finger. My whole body was stiff. As soon as my friend saw his face,
He get the
ran
fuck
away
out
with
of it.
unbelievable
Fight or
speed.
flight, but he
I thought it was
freeze.
a dream, but it was a clear reality. His face, skin, and eyes were all reddish. He was the devil himself. When he looked at me, he smiled and said softly, "Oh, the lamb is lost. Do you know where this place is?" Holding a whip in one hand, he came close.
Man,
Looking
see,
closely,
I'm glad I
could
don't
see what was wrong
freeze.
with his skin. He had terrible burns all over his body.
Oh, wow.
I mumbled, "Oh God, there is no God, so I became the son of the devil." As he approached, I was immediately struck by the smell of blood. I think he was some sort of Satanist. There were various items symbolizing Satan, paintings of goats, snakes, and other reptiles.
The
Believe in
fuck? You
Satan.
got him in cases?
Then you shall receive everything you want, as long as you devote your soul to him. He held out a glass full of blood to me. Take of all the pleasures and desires you want. Everything will be yours.
I like his friend didn't even
Then
like try
he
to
started uttering
snap
some
him out of
spell
it.
in an ancient language. Tana bolak tidin, soba tahilgo no pepera hadil, das varubes hotele begablam. Just then, I felt a strong urge to drink it. I don't know why, but I almost did it.
What?
However, I came to my senses and refused. He then laughed and drank the blood. A moment later, he grabbed my face with his hand and vomited blood on it. "Drink it! Satan wants your body!" I freaked out and barely covered my face with my arms. The blood he spat out spread everywhere.
Now you got
Again, he put a
hepatitis.
cup to my mouth and tried to make me drink the rest
Man,
of the
boy, if
blood.
you don't run.
Desperately closing my mouth shut, I pushed him off and ran away.
Yeah, like
I
at this
finally
point, you
climbed the
should
stairs
be able to
and ran
run now.
outside instantaneously. I knew something bad would happen.
Because I had a friend, I mean, I've had multiple friends, but I remember when I was a kid, I had a friend, because in the moment, his response, he didn't have a fight or flight response. His response was freeze. So when we ever was playing, when we were playing like hide and go seek, and someone jumped out, he would freeze up rather than run. Because we play like hide and go seek and tag combination where you could still run away if they found you, but then they had to catch you and hit you. Then you were it, and then you were able to go high, and then they had to find you later, But he would freeze like that. But if you nudged him, like touched him, he would snap out of it, and then he would go into either fight or run. Most of the time, it was run like everybody else. But this kid, like getting touched, he's just still like, but you're not taking the blood. Like, you don't start running. He finally pushed the guy over and started
And if I
running.
stayed there for another minute, he stood still behind me, not catching
His
me
friend
along the way,
gone. His
just
friend was
chanting
like, fuck
spells in
you.
a devilish voice. Just then, I heard thousands of people scream painfully in the back. I felt like I was in the pit of hell, but I knew that there was just me and him. When I came out, everything was calm again, as if nothing had happened. Leaves swaying in the wind, birds flying. Everything seemed
Birds chirping.
peaceful. I felt
It was
so weird.
turtles humping
Could there
each
be
other
another
in
world
bushes.
that exists that I don't know? To this day, my doubts are not gone. He had already escaped when the cops arrived on the scene. Only the bodies of the dead snakes and reptiles were found. Even now, He sometimes appears in my dreams and seduces me. He crams a cup of blood into my mouth, and I wake up struggling desperately. And when I wake up, I feel the taste of blood and suffer from a massive thirst for it. To
Vampire
tell the
now?
truth, I'm afraid that my soul will be taken by Satan one day. Dear God, please save me from this fear.
And then he became Constantine. His girlfriend who broke up with me 5 years ago attacked me.
This story is about my ex-girlfriend. She was a lovely woman whom I met about 5 years ago when I was 20 years
Is
old.
she a cosplayer?
I loved her with all my heart. However, I was getting tired of her growing obsession and violent behavior. I realized that her mental age was lower than the average person's, and whenever she got angry, she cursed me with what she called a magic wand. I then had to pretend
this
to be
bitch is
under her
crazy.
spell and suffer from it. I couldn't stand it, so I broke up with her.
This bitch is crazy.
She didn't take it well and started stalking me
She
for
needs
almost
help.
a year. I will dedicate your soul to the devil. She cursed me with these words, and since then, there's always been a dead body of a mouse or a cat in front of my house.
Okay.
Eventually, I blocked all contact and managed to escape from her.
Yeah, well, they sound to
However,
move.
She eventually showed up in front of me 5 years later. We ran into each other at a friend's party, and she greeted me with a familiar, lovely face.
It's a trap.
Seeing that, I felt like I had forgotten all of my past wounds.
You idiot.
It was nice to see her rather than hate her. It almost seemed as if nothing had happened. Then she suddenly asked me to have dinner sometime.
Hell no.
At first, I wanted to say no, but
You
then
should have said
decided
no.
to accept her offer, as I thought it would be okay to just have dinner with her. Surprisingly,
Thinking with
she
your
was very
dickhead.
kind and didn't show any violent tendencies like in the past. We had a great time at the restaurant, and after the meal, she suggested going to her house. for a
No,
drink.
she luring you to a
I
false
accepted
sense
the
of
offer
security.
as my caution against her had been lifted.
Oh, God.
However, I was surprised to see the state of her house when I arrived. The floor was littered with trash and dolls as if it hadn't been cleaned for months, and there was this unknown stench from somewhere hitting my nose. But she acted so casually that I, who was freaked out at the moment, pretended that everything was fine.
Man,
Then,
get the
there was
fuck out
one
of
thing
here.
that caught my eye. Through the slightly open door of her room, I could see an awl stuck through a doll. I was horrified for a moment, but tried not to show my fear. While she
She
bought us a drink and we
crazier than
drank
she was
together,
before.
I was thinking about how to get out of there. She must have noticed something strange, too. Her expression started to stiffen. She then went to the bathroom for a while. In the meantime, I went into a room to check what was inside.
I would have left.
And when I saw what it was, I dropped my can of beer. Dozens of dolls, not just one, were stuck through with an awl. The creepy thing was, some of the dolls had pictures of men on their faces, and mine was there too. The doll's belly was torn apart, and its arms and legs were also torn.
That's what
I
she
could
gonna
see
do to
deadly
your
weapons,
ass.
dog necklaces, and a whip on the desk. I realized that something terrible would happen if I didn't get out of there.
Oh boy.
Just then, I heard her voice behind me. Finally, I got you.
I'd have drop kicked that bitch through
She
that
was
door.
smiling brightly when I turned around with a deadly pale face. I finally got you. She had a net and a Pokeball from Pokemon.
I was about
in
to
both
say,
her
that a
hands.
Pokeball?
Come to me. Smiling brightly, she stretched out her arm. As I stood there with an absurd expression, her expression slowly began to stiffen. Then she picked up the knife from the desk and jumped at me.
Oh.
I screamed, pushed her off, and ran like crazy. Come back, honey! You're mine! Leaving her scream behind me, I ran out. Just then, I felt like I heard someone moan in another room. But I ran away anyway and immediately called the police. To my surprise, 2 men were found inside when police rushed into her house. They were dressed in animal clothes, had a dog necklace around their necks, and ate with a dog bowl.
Oh.
It turned out that they were all her ex-boyfriends. Being stabbed and wounded, they were held in captivity at her home for weeks. Luckily, they were rescued, and she was eventually arrested.
Man, think of the psychological
this
trauma
day,
they
I'm
suffer
still
from.
suffering from the terrible memories of that time. If I hadn't gotten away from her, I would have become one of her Pokemon.
Wait, did she get away? Did he say she got away? Is that it? I think it was just 2 stories. Yeah, it was. Man. Okay, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. First off, first video. Boy, I understand he had a freeze response. Once that motherfucker touched him, it should immediately broke out of that and start running, which he did, but he did it way too late. Let that motherfucker spit hepatitis blood on him and shit. Second story. Dude, stop thinking with your dick and think logically. This bitch was crazy when you were with her, and you're like, oh, she's probably okay now. It's fine. And then the first thing you see, you go in her house, it looks like a fucking pigsty. But it looks like you said, it hasn't been cleaned in months, and she's completely like nothing's there, and you like, what the? And so you just go with it, like, well, you that horny? You say, oh, I guess I'll just go with it. It's one thing being in my house where you're like, okay, it's not quite as clean, but that shit, no. You definitely like, I'm trying to get some good. Hey, you was like, hey, I could ignore the stench. Oh yeah, that was I don't know what the fuck you was thinking with that shit. I mean, I guess he was in love or whatever, but you think, oh, she's changed. Like, she's gotten worse. And she almost added you to her collection, motherfucker. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe right here. Hit that bell. Be notified when I upload the videos. Comment down below. Share this video. See y'all next time. Peace.